Hey, Jim Dunaway from the next round. We're ready to relive the weekend in Southeastern Conference football with our friends at Cowin Equipment. We're fired up for another year. Before we look back, though, let me remind you, our friends at Cowin Equipment would love the opportunity to partner with your company for your heavy equipment needs. Visit Cowin.com to find out more about how Cowin can be your heavy equipment solution, from rental and new equipment sales to great service and parts. Check out Cowin Equipment's rental fleet hit list for a wide range of well-maintained equipment from their rental fleet for sale right now. Go to the website, Cowin.com, Cowin.com. Now let's talk a little football.
I don't know if I've ever been to an Auburn game where they were as disappointing as they were this weekend. And again, I know they've played a more disappointing, they've performed worse. There have been worse teams in this team. Brown makes a great point about 2012.
Oh, 2012 gave up.
I heard a lot of people comparing to Doug Barfield teams. I remind people that you had 3 NFL running backs on Doug Barfield's team and some talent over there. The Auburn fans were there. They were packed out. Overflow crowd in Jordan-Hare Stadium. It was a great atmosphere, a great day leading up to kickoff, and then the defense didn't show up. I was expecting. I thought Auburn would win the game 16-13, but I wasn't expecting the one thing I could count on, the Auburn defense, to give up 245 rushing yards and let Penn State average 7 yards a play. I was not expecting that to happen.
No, I agree. This is an Auburn team that had yet to give up over 10 yards. They had given up one 10-plus yard rush, and you saw what Nick Singleton was able to do in that second half against Auburn. I mean, they completely dominated up front. Penn State had 6 sacks. Auburn had none. Auburn is one of 4 teams in the FBS yet to force a turnover. They've turned the football over 8 times. You're -8 in turnover margin, and you're 2-1 because you played crap teams.
Yeah, you're -8 in turnovers, and right now it's never going to catch up because your quarterbacks are turnover machines. So you're going to turn the ball over a lot more, and that defense just isn't forcing them.
You knew it was going to happen as soon as they lost their first game, whoever it was, that the fire would turn up really even more on Brian Harsin.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody would have been surprised if we'd gotten an announcement yesterday Auburn was parting ways with Brian Harsin.
No,
or if it comes today or tomorrow.
You say the first loss, when you lose by 29, when you get completely embarrassed, it is another level.
Fair or not fair, the question, whether, a 2-1 SEC football team, 25% into a season, Brown, I don't know if it's fair to be asking a coach about his job security, but the table was set in the offseason that you knew this question would come after the first loss, and it came this weekend for Brian Harsin.
These results tonight or today could generate some talk about your job security. How do you handle that personally, and how do you handle that? How do you help your team and your coaching staff deal with that?
Yeah, well, I mean, number one, I'm always coaching for this football team, all right, and these players, number one. And I can't control that. I can control, what I do each and every day. What I've always done is coach for this team, these players, these coaches, make sure I'm doing my job, having our team prepared and all that. And, I don't control any of those other things other than what I do and each and every day. So we put more expectations on ourselves than anybody else, all right? And that's always been that way. So at the end of the day, I'm disappointed for our football team. And my job is to make sure that we put together a plan and put a football team out there that can go compete and play at a high level, and that's always the expectations. So the standard needs to be better than what it was, and that's really all we're going to focus on. I believe in this team, and I believe in what we're doing, and we got to be better at it. So at the end of the day, that's all I ever focus on.
Georgia, they went and worked South Carolina.
They're so good.
South Carolina.
And this is not going to get any different. It looks like there's separation between Georgia and everybody else. And when you look at Georgia's schedule, LT, they don't play another team really with a good pulse until Florida.
Yeah,
they're just going to dominate teams.
Again, Heisman
and
ballot.
I include Auburn in that group.
Heisman ballot right now, I would have Stetson Bennett one,
Hey,
probably Caleb Williams two for USC. But you look at Stetson Bennett. In 2022, he's 65 of 88, completing right around 75% of his passes, 8 total touchdowns, 0 turnovers.
Yeah.
He's been great.
It did not go well for South Carolina. Did anyone think it would look like that?
No. I didn't think it'd be that bad. I didn't think South Carolina would beat them, but I didn't know they would get just running the ground.
Yeah, I thought that they would hang. I thought Radler actually would be getting better week to week.
Turnover machine.
Yeah,
LT.
he was not good at all. The best pass thrown all day by South Carolina was their punter. And seriously,
Beamer ball.
he threw a BB, a 20-yard completion, which looked like it flipped the momentum a little bit when Georgia was up 14-0. But that defense is just too good. I mean, Klatt said it. I mean, South Carolina, they score that late touchdown with under 2 minutes to go. If they don't get that, Georgia's defense through 3 games giving up a point a game.
Yeah, that's crazy. the throwaway there. So I want your reaction to the question.
Okay.
And his response, because Shane Beamer did more with less last year, but that brought expectations this year. And some people are saying now the shine's off of the Golden Boy right now. I disagree with that. It's just a tough schedule to start off with Arkansas and Georgia. But how do you think he handled this situation?
You sense any give up in the locker room?
Hell no. What kind of questions that, Phil? We're 1-2. We're 1-2. We got a bunch of fighters in that room, and
Can't
give
take that
up.
question.
That's not a part of this football program. Get out of here, man. With that, no.
I'll come back and tell you no.
Phil, what kind of question is that, Phil?
Yeah.
What kind of question's that?
I will say, so I saw a little bit of fight from them in the second half against Arkansas. They still got blown out, weren't really competitive. Just didn't see that against Georgia. But, again, Georgia's on another level.
Even though it's 63-7 and there's some things Alabama fans want to see right or getting a little bit better, this or that, when your playmakers, your name players start making plays, like Will Anderson, for instance, even though it was a horrible turnover by ULM, it was a turnover that he picked up and scored. I feel like your guys can sort of get a little momentum going, a little mojo going. Your name players start making plays. And obviously you want to be able to take the top off an offense, but I did like this, that some of the guys that maybe had gotten off to slow starts by their standards got into the game and a little bit more into the groove this weekend.
You know, I'm interested. You know, it was not something, it was very atypical from Bryce Young to turn the football over multiple times. But I'm really interested to see, are we going to have a breakout game? You know, McClellan had the one big run against Texas. But are we going to have a game from Gibbs or McClellan or, you know, Roydell Williams where they go for 150 plus?
Yeah.
Is this the game Saturday?
Huge win for LSU over Mississippi State. State fans disappointed. I really think a lot of people, including our buddy Connor O'Gara and LT, thought Mississippi State was a, top 15 type team this year?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah,
And we were talking about maybe them being the third best team in the conference behind Georgia and Alabama. Obviously, they are not.
And then Will Rogers, much like in the Alabama game last year, when it was rushing 3, dropping 8, they had some problems getting receivers open and moving the ball down the field. Here's Brian Kelly on how big the win is for LSU.
Just a classic, battle of 2 really good defenses. And then, guys making plays in the second half. Jaden Daniels made a lot of plays for us in the second half. Receivers stepping up, the back step up. And what was evident to me was our physical conditioning in the third and fourth quarter. We were able to control the line of scrimmage. When everybody knew we needed to run the football, I know I was asked this question several times. We ran the football effectively and we were able to close out the football game. And that's what you have to do, and we were able to do that effectively.
John Emery helped, but Jaden Daniels' legs running the football, to me, the difference in that game on some big plays.
Yeah, I didn't think Jaden Daniels, based on the Jaden Daniels I've seen the last few years at Arizona State, would be able to do this against a quality SEC defense. He did it. And I got to give Brian Kelly a ton of credit because when they were down 13-0, they made the adjustments. Their defense played lockdown. The offense got better. They're getting better each and every week. And again, in the next year, not this year, but in 2023, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with.
Now let's move to Texas A&M. You'll hear Jimbo Fisher, and then Brownie, I want your reaction to what you saw with Texas A&M over Miami. I mean, it was a juiced atmosphere. Fowler and Herb Street's there. 8 o'clock kick, Kyle Field. So it was a battle of 2 nationally ranked teams. And I think if we'd have said this in the offseason, sort of the way we thought this game would turn out, and that was different coming off an App State loss. Here's Jimbo Fisher on bouncing back after losing to Appalachian State.
After what happened last week, what do you think was the key for your team to be able to bounce back and not let that linger?
Block out all the clutter, move on, go to the next play, go to the next day, don't listen to anybody, and move on. You control what happens to you, and just live in your own little cubby hole, live in your own world, and block everything out.
Yeah, I think they were very fortunate to win this game. You are right, Max Johnson did not turn the ball over, but when you complete only 10 passes for 140 yards against a quality opponent, you're very fortunate to win. And Cladd is right. They got, 25 first downs Miami did? And they outgained Texas A&M by 130 yards on the road and somehow managed not to score a touchdown. And like Cladd said earlier, that's impossible to do. I don't even know how Miami accomplished that.
Yeah, Van Dyke didn't play well.
He did not.
And I thought that would be the difference in this game. It's one of the reasons I liked A&M. I thought that there would be way too much pressure. I thought A&M's offense would be a lot crisper, but only 17 points, 264 total yards, 16 first downs. They gave up 3 sacks. On the flip side, A&M's defense was unable to get to Van Dyke. I don't know. A&M Arkansas is fascinating to me because I think Arkansas is a better team, but A&M's favorite.
Yeah, Arkansas had no cracks until they played Missouri State this week, and that makes this game look totally different now.
Yeah, but I wonder, and coaches are never going to say we're looking ahead. How much were they looking ahead to Texas A&M?
Yeah, I just think A&M is going to be limited on offense all year. I think that's what we figured out. No matter who's the quarterback, they're going to be very limited on offense.
If they average 14 yards of completion the rest of the year, that's pretty good, right?
Not how many completions do they have?
Am I doing the math right on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
How many completions do they have?
Yeah, 10. That's for
No,
14 yards.
No, it's not. When you've only got 140 pass yards. But DJ Durkin's an elite defensive coordinator, and he is showing that because their defense is playing lights out right now.
If you're having a hard time finding that new plastic on the seat piece of heavy equipment, check out Cowin Equipment's rental fleet hit list for a wide range of well-maintained equipment from their rental fleet for sale. Now visit cowin.com/featured used equipment or call 800-239-COWIN for more information.